Okay. I think I am back. Hello and welcome to Plugging Along, a stream dedicated to LOTRO plugins. Last time on Plugging Along, we switched back to the Festival Buddy 2 plugin so that we could arrange a release before Yule began, because there were some things in there that did not work for Yule, especially in the French and German client languages. And so we were working on that last stream. It didn't quite get done last stream, despite it being an extra long stream. So I did do that release after the stream. So today we can take a quick look at what that was, what all those changes were, and we're just going to keep on improving the quest guides for Yule in Festival Buddy. As always, feel free to jump into chat with your thoughts and questions about LOTRO. It does not have to be about plugins specifically, though I'm happy to answer those as well. All right, let me go ahead and switch things over. Okay, as was mentioned on Little Redhead's stream, update 38.1.1 is being released tomorrow. A special note are the Umbar Craft Guilds. So I'm very curious if these will even be visible to us here on Treebeard, because I do have several crafters who are maxed out in their craft guilds. Everything but Scholar, I think. And I'm curious if I'll even be able to see it, let alone like progress through it doing something. But since all the NPCs that you need to interact with are in Umbar, which is not accessible over here on Treebeard, I assume we're not going to be able to interact with that system for a little bit of time. Anyway, I glanced through it. It didn't seem like there was anything too exciting from a plugin perspective, but that is the link there at lotro.com. That's on their front page. Neat. All right, what else do we have? Oh, I was going to show off the start of the Festival Buddy 2 quick guide for Yule. So let me go to the plugin manager here. We've got Festival Buddy 2. I'm going to go ahead and load that up and set us to Yule. Whenever you're on a festival that has a quick guide, currently it's Midsummer and Yule, there's a quick guide button, and this will launch, and this is targeted towards people who are very familiar with the festival, but just want a system that both remembers which things they've done. So for instance, which of the beggars that you have been charitable to, or have moved them off, or if you've done them out of your normal order, this will help you remember that. And in other words, just track things for you. Because if you do this over and over on multiple characters, it can be nice to just have a system that reminds you, oh yeah, this is the thing I'm doing next on this character. Just right in chat, Sandy was saying that they like the music that was in the intro video. It must be from an expansion they have not explored. And yes, it was the roaming free track from the Riders of Rohan expansion. What are you doing? Hi. Hello, little one. I have a cat right next to me, and he's just like facing into my side. All right, you do you. Sandy in chat says, love the quick guide for Midsummer. Get so turned around and confused otherwise. Well, Sandy, I'm going to do this first, and I'd love to get any feedback you have on... I feel like it's not quite optimized. There's so much back and forth you have to do in Frostbluff because of the way some of the quests are mutually exclusive. So moving them off, and Charitable Spirit are mutually exclusive. It's not Stuffing the Stuffed. I want to call it Stuffing the Stuffed, but it's the Onike's quest here. The eating contest. That one is mutually exclusive from the tidying the tables, and so it feels like there's a fair amount of back and forth compared to Midsummer, where it feels a lot more linear. Where's a good spot for this? I think it's going to be over here. Okay. And so what I've done is I've put together a draft quick guide. We're just going to run through it on Bavaker here. And you know what? I'm going to make a note of the time. So we're starting this about 1941 on my side of the ocean. And we're going to start with Mara Sandy Downs, of course. Pick up In the Spirit of Yule. Next up, talk to Guard Kemper. This is doing the headcanon version of moving them off, where we're actually directing them to the Revolution headquarters, and so they are playing along. Oh, I've got to go, but they're just going to plot against the mayor, so it's all good. You're not actually being mean. You have in fact been roped in to help them keep their cover. So hit the two on the way over to Daily Outeridge and Gareth Rust, picking these up as well. Keep on moving them off, the last two, and then we're going to divert from doing the fifth one because we're right at the top of the stairs here for the fireworks. So we're just going to nip around the corner, hit up the stash for fireworks, go ahead and pilfer those coins from the bourgeois. If you position yourself correctly, you can queue up 8 pilfers for all of the different patrons here. Or patrons, if you prefer. Which is a good time to harass a cat who's sitting next to me. Yes, it is. Hi. I'm probably just giving off body heat. Alright, in the quest progression we can see 7 of 8. This is 8 of 8. The quick guide registers that. At that point you can pick up... so here's where I have to kind of make a choice. If Onike is still not visible... oh, she is. If Onike is visible, I go ahead and pick that up because the lead-in time that you have to wait for the eating contest to begin, I want that to be... making it, I want it to be progressing on that. So we'll go ahead and delay tidying up, and we'll just do everything else. So we won't be taking tidying up, that's okay. I don't have a way to make it kind of customizable based off of what you did yet. That's sort of a future goal. So we're going to skip all this tidying up stuff, and skip waiting for the eating contest to begin. Instead, we're going to nip right out of here, past the swans, and go start on the stuff outside. Alright, now this quick guide is all about efficiency, so we're going to do the broken snow person because it is the easiest to complete. You get one thing that sticks on the way here, you'll get the other one, the coal, while you are baking bread and picking up the keg. So obviously if you're going for deed completion, you'll be doing one of each of the other snow people, but just for quest completion, and especially if you're running this through on multiple characters, it doesn't feel worth it to me for the variety of different snow people to build. Just build the easiest one. Alright, so we're on the collecting 5 eggs. From there we'll go over to unwilling firewood in the Grumpwood. The goal of this is, of course, to do a single loop out of town as much as possible, but you do have to leave town to pick up the snow person quest, go back to town for the coal, and then leave town again. But fortunately, Virgil is about as close as you can get to town while still being out of town. Alright, if you're on a warden, switch to ranged mode. I ran around here the other day and I was in melee mode and it was super annoying. I also don't know how to play a warden, but I do know how to throw my javelin at things. Alright, one more. Okay, so unwilling firewood is complete. We're going to ride on down to the lake. Alright, there's a bunch of different berries that you can get, but I go ahead and get the one on this side and then the 4 on the other side, and take out the wintry weather on my way over. Alright, so the winter weather is done. We're going to pick up the second winter berry bush here, and then there's another 3 in a line on the way over to the fort, or whatever that thing is. Okay, as we can see, bottomless snow people are next, snow beasts, I guess. As Little Red had pointed out on the stream before this, you can, oh, that's inconvenient, you can cheer at the same Okay, I've got it covered. You can cheer at the same snow beast multiple time and get credit. So yeah, do that. Otherwise, finding 3 different ones is annoying. Okay, so we're doing pampered mushrooms next. Don't move while you're picking up mushrooms. I guess I could put myself on walk-in here. It's a little bit more reliable. Okay, we've got our 5 pampered mushrooms. As a hobbit, I feel like I should be allowed to pick up more than that. I don't know. Bias is what it is. Cool. As we come back in, we want to get to guard Kember, and I did things out of order, and on my way out of town, I forgot to... See, this is why maybe it's best to go ahead and talk to Bill Hyde. Okay, so we're gonna make a change. So Bill, moving on with Bill Hyde, let's go ahead and move that up to moving them off. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that before the fireworks. It's a little bit more roundabout, and then I'm going to go ahead and unload and reload the plugin. It's a little bit more roundabout, but then it means that you definitely can turn that in when you first get back into town. And you want to do that so that you can pick up Charitable Spirit. Okay. Oh, interesting. It doesn't seem like it's or saved all of the bits. Did I forget to pick something up while I was here? No. Interesting. That's okay. We'll sort out issues as we get them. Okay, so we can see there's someone else who is here, but they don't seem to be eating. Now's a great time to get it in ourselves. That's one of the other reasons I like to pick up the quest and run, is you can hopefully stagger yourself so you're not competing with other people for the good stuff. Now, Festival Buddy does have a reference for the biggest stomach of them all. Berries are best at only a -1%, and so on. Now, I do have 4 of them. If you can, get a mystery drink. Worst case, it'll give you a debuff that is annoying while you're walking, but doesn't matter while you're riding. And if you're lucky, it clears everything. Always good. All right. I do like to mount up before I pick up the next leg. Just a little bit faster to get there, especially if you've got those movement debuffs, as I'm about to, because there's a bunch of pie. Oh well, I'm also going to get a Mr. Drink, so I can't complain. One pie is the same as 10 bowls of berries, though, so you want to be... oops. Mr. Drink was not good. All right. We are compensated, though, by having a bunch of berries. Let's try to get this mystery drink. All right, 3rd station is complete, and it did clear all of the debuffs. Great. All right, we got someone here, but they are just cleaning up spills for tidying up, so we are not competing with them. All right, not a fan of eggs, but better than bread and pie for this. All right, now, as we could see, if we had this quest up, we still have 40 seconds at this table, and so I'm not particularly worried about grabbing a pie when I could just wait for, mushrooms or berries. Mushrooms it is. Great. All right, final table. As Little Redhead pointed out, at this point, if you're doing pretty well, you can be kind to people who might be coming right behind you. Take the bread, take the pies, but the contents of tables completely despawns and clears every so often, and that's to keep the table from being all all bread and pie all the time. So every so often, I don't know the timing on it, but it feels every couple of minutes, the table will just clear. You'll get a random assortment of things. And so, yeah, if you know people are coming right behind you and you have the time to spare, go for it, but don't feel bad if you don't. If there's reasonable spacing between you and the people who come after you, the overwhelming abundance of pies will sort itself out. Okay, so finish the biggest stomach of them all if it comes up. Otherwise, go ahead and do tidying up. And so we'll go ahead and do tidying up here as well, just to get ourselves back on track. Now, as far as quests go, tidying up feels like one of the lesser efficient ones from a time perspective. It just feels like it's a very slow progression thing. You need to pick up 30 of these things. You got to climb over and around tables. You can't easily run from one to the next without running into obstacles. So I could definitely understand if that was, of the 11 quests we're doing here, if that one you were just like, no, I'm not doing that. But if you're one of the people who, for story reasons, doesn't do moving them off, then you do kind of need that if you want to do all 10 of your daily quests in town here and skip the theater, which itself can be a bit of a time sink. Oh, I've already remembered one of the things I keep meaning to add to my to-do list. All right, quick guide. For each of the 5 beggars, call out their location each time they are mentioned. Cool, we'll come back to that. Fortunately, tidying up doesn't have any sort of a time limit. So my normal path involves doing the table right in front of the patrons who are dancing, then the one by Ona K, then coming around to this, and then ending at the last table in the eating contest order. And that places us right next to the oven here when we're done. I don't know that there's any particularly better way. I think you always have to visit for the 5 tables. But yeah, if there's an order that you prefer, by all means. This is just what I'm so used to doing that I don't bother changing it up. All right, that was 10 of the reeking garbage. Excellent. That's 10 of the spills. And this will be 10 of the dishes. Fantastic. So, as it says, turn and tidying up, except we can go ahead and delay that. And in theory, we were just coming back in from out of town, so we've done things in a little bit of a different order here. And this is one of the places where I need to take another look at this and see, can this be improved on? Oh, sorry. We're going to pause on the charitable spirit because we're over here by the oven, so we're going to go ahead and bake a bread and do a coal. I like doing the bread first because it has such a long induction that it's nice to just get one of those out of the way. Then we can queue up another induction while we're doing the coal. Try to get things going as quickly as possible. Hello, little one. I wonder if I can get you on camera. Well, I gotta move my arm. We can do that though, maybe. Hey. Okay. What do you mean using it has no effect? Am I in a fellowship with someone who just grabbed it? No, I'm not in a fellowship. That is weird. Did I fail to pick up the quest? Well, I'm just confused. Empty keg, emergency. Deliver the keg. I don't have the keg. Hey, patron. That's weird. Huh. Alright, we'll just let that play out for a minute. Remember that the quick guide will continue to mark things off whether it's open or not. But we're going to go ahead and go do a broken snowman for Virgil Greenfield here. Pick any snow pile. If you want it to be the giant one, it is over here, I think, behind this bush. Each one of the snow people, if you has a different snow pile that if you build it on, you get a giant version of the snow person. This is the correct pile for the giant broken one. So that's amusing. It's not the closest one to Virgil, though, so I often don't bother doing that. All right, so we're going to continue with Charitable Spirit here. So we're going to swing around to the sort of the front entrance. Now at this point we can go ahead and turn in the daily if we want. Because I'm behind on the empty keg, I don't have the ability to turn in the daily wrapper though. In Spirit of Yule, I'm still at 9, which is very strange. Ted Ives, I almost missed you. Alright, well there's our Charitable Spirit. We might just call the keg emergency bugged if I can't go back over there and pick it up. We'll see. What do you think, Casper? Should I just give up my attempt to pick up the keg? Yep, I think so. It says deliver the replacement keg, which is so odd. Alright, hey watcher. Hey. 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 Look at this keg. Okay. That is strange. So I'm going to go ahead and just cancel that. And it'll be 5 minutes, but no biggie. That's the last thing I was going to do with this character. Okay, so let's go ahead and get locational information on each of the beggars, because that's one of the things that always bugs me. Is like, oh, I need to go give a coin to Barrett Noel, but I don't know where Barrett Noel is. So we're going to go ahead and fix that. Well, Casper, you're very cute. If only you were back like 6 inches, my head would be in frame. Oh well. Yeah. You're fine. Okay. I'm going to try to rotate my body here, though. Okay. So someone just chased Barrett Noel off. That's okay. I know where we are. So let's come on into our code. And the thing that the quick guide is perhaps unnecessarily complicated. And it is split between 2 files. One file which tracks all of the language-independent items, and one file which is just the language-specific strings that are displayed in the window. So this empty keg emergency, pick up one of the kegs and deliver the replacement keg. This is a language-specific string. There could be a different one for French or German. Certainly the name of the quest I can do myself, but translating the whole string, maybe not. And so the display value for these things is located in the quick guide strings, Yule in this case, EN for English. And then the how do we auto detect when you have accepted a quest or completed a quest? or advanced on quest objectives. Well, these are all language specific that show up in the quest chat channel. And so those also are based off the language. But everything else is not. So when we look at the structure, this right here, the quick guide Yule index, this is the ordering of quick guide entries. So if you move something around in here, you change when it shows up in the quick guide. There are a couple that I decided, so there are, for the biggest stomach of them all, there's 5 different quests. And when you complete the first one, you automatically pick up the second one. But there's nothing you can do about it, and it happens automatically. And so at first I was listing them in the quick guide, but it didn't, it felt like filler or fluff. It wasn't really doing it. So I actually need to delete those entries. So delete extra, whatever these are called, extra biggest stomach quests, or bits. Okay. So what else do we have? It's also useful to know if you are starting or ending the In the Spirit of Yule, which elements does that correspond to? So there are arrays. Oh, okay, you just started moving them off, then all of these are a part of moving them off. Or are we excluding, I don't want to do moving them off in the options menu? Okay, well then none of these objectives should show up in the list. So that's a whole separate thing, is how do you associate all of these elements together? And then when you are completing a thing, what quest chain does that go to? So there's a reverse lookup where you can say, oh, a broken snowman pickup, cool, that's probably part of a broken snowman. And I feel like this is such a regular thing that maybe it could be deduced algorithmically, but for now there's just a table for that. And then for each entry in the list, we need to know, is it the beginning of a chain? Is it the end of a chain? Are there special triggers that we want to attach to this thing when you do the thing? Like, oh, open up this next quest, which we do for Midsummer quite a lot. I haven't sorted out what I want to do with for that here. Anyway, so all of that is the non-language way of building up a quick guide. And I really have visions of making this something that could be user configurable and not just hard-coded in. And user configurable also means I could configure it instead of having to do all this building up of tables by hand. But that's definitely not a this Yule thing. So we're looking at English-specific strings right now, so we're going to come on in to Noel. Barrett Noel. So, continue quest with Barrett Noel. Any place where we have Barrett Noel, I would like to say Barrett Noel next to Mara. And that is Mara Sandy Downs. Now, I have to make sure not to do that in the quest objective strings. This is just in the display strings. So, moving them off, continue quest with Barrett Noel next to Mara Sandy Downs. Awesome. We're going to see that in action, probably just on the next character. Log on with someone else, play around with it again. I'm going to come on over here. How much time do I have? Awesome, let's do it. So when you take a quest, it goes ahead and unchecks all of them and then immediately checks the thing. Okay. Keg. There is no quest chat information when you have picked up the keg, so the quest guide can't know that you're carrying it. Or not, I can't easily know that. Maybe there's some way. All right, there we go. Well, that was a strange little issue, but we can work around it with time. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and reset this now so we can see these changes. So we're going to go ahead and open up the plugin manager so we can unload and reload. And we can see, moving them off, continue quest with Barrett Noel next to Mara Sandy Downs. Great. Now, location information for Ted Ives. I don't have a good one, but maybe like midway between Ona K, and daily utterage. So we'll start with that and see how it works. Midway between Ona, what's her face, K, and daily utterage. And sometimes it's just easier just to do a whatever, like a slash wave, and then you can just copy out of chat. You wave to daily utterage. Okay. Moving them all. Continue with Regina Judson. Okay. I don't know. Around the corner from daily utterage. Midway between daily utterage and the theater. Is theater with an RE? Probably is. It is. Okay. What's up with one? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so Jack Judson. And I'm going to go ahead and type up the rest of these just on the first instance of them, and then copy paste that in for the charitable spirit. Okay, so Jack Hudson next to theater entrance. Hey, did I wake you up? Sorry about that. I mean, sorry that you're awake, not sorry that I was doing it. You look sleepy. Okay. And then finally, Bill Hyde, who, what is a good way next to final, what is that called? Biggest stomach table slash back, I don't know. Sure. Again, this is targeted towards people who are really familiar with the quest and are just looking for a way to organize this all. So why not? Just right. It says cats make terrible streamers. Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, everyone's here for the cats. You lean too hard into me, you're going to fall off of the one. All right. Taking my hand away. Thank you. Okay. Cool. So on the assumption that they've done these a couple of times, they know this is the final table. I think that'll be fine. Okay. So let's come on in, and we already did moving them off. We copied Barrett Noel, so we want the Ted Ives. Why is my selection being weird? Not sure. Okay, so we're going to find Ted Ives and replace that with Ted Ives midway between Onike and Daily Utterage. Okay. Regina Judson. Come on down. Okay. Jack Judson next to the theater entrance. And Bill Hyde. I think this is going to be a big deal for me because I will sometimes do these out of order just because, tidying up or biggest to make them all or some other weirdness causes me to go a little bit out of order. Then I've done 4 out of the 5, and then I have to basically do the whole ride again to figure out which one of them I have missed. So I'm very excited at the idea of this thing just tells you, hey, you need the one next to the final biggest stomach table. Okay, so that was a thing to do. And in fact, let's come on in to here and to do File change. Yeah. Okay, so what have we done? Moving off Bill Hyde sooner to make sure it isn't missed due to quest irregularities. All right, and added location information for each of the 5 beggars. Now this is English specific, but it's a start. So we're going to come on into the to-do file and mark that complete, which was for each of 5 beggars, done. Okay. So, Sandy, if you were able to stick around and keep an eye on the quick guide for Yule, I'm curious, or anyone else as well, about your feedback on the order of things. Do you prefer a different order? Do you think that something's faster? General presentation, all of that. I'm going to go ahead and swap characters so that I can take a look at it again on characters that are not done. But that was, we are at half an hour past when I started that, and obviously it would go much faster if I wasn't talking about things and coding. Then Redhead points out, being able to make a custom order would be cool. Absolutely. One of the things on my to-do list is to update the options window so that at least you can exclude things from the list. Now on Midsummer, there's a lot more flexibility because there were well more than 10 quests, if I remember right. Something like 14 to 18 of them. And so you could definitely eliminate the bits and pieces of it and not seriously impact your ability to get 10 things done. But with Yule, if you want to basically stay within Frostbluff and don't want to interact with the theater, then you have 11 quests. And so there's not a lot of wiggle room there. Yeah, just right. For Yule, it's hard to streamline. I think I end up going around and around town 4 times, it seems. Yep. All right, I'm going to have to remember to load the Festival Buddy plugin. And Yule. There we go. Okay. We'll put it up here. I don't know. I don't actually need to look at my character screen. Character profile. Okay, so in the spirit of Yule and the guard, moving them off, and a bottomless lone man, move the first person one off. This emote thing, we'll check in with that later. Okay, Ted Ives midway between Ona K. Okay, now did Ona K have anything? No. Okay, keep going. Cold as ice, pick that up. Gareth Rest for the making mischief. Great. Come along. Now, what we're going to do here is just jump through the gap between the tree and the building, get Bill Hyde real fast, and then come on back and hit up the fireworks. Nope. That's going to work better if my mouse cursor is not on another window. Okay. Now, remember, you can position yourself in the right place. You can get all the patrons queued up. And then you can go harass a cat. Hey. Hey. She's worried about you licking bald spots. Stop it. Yeah, her. It's not me. He's determined. All right, it's number 7. The trick for me is to make sure this patron in the distance and this one in the close, that I'm about evenly between them. They have the farthest distance between the two of them. Okay, so Ona still hasn't popped up with the biggest stomach, so we're going to go ahead and get all 4 of these, which is kind of the normal path for me. If Ona is available, that feels a little bit exceptional because of the long delay between when those quests are available, which is why I try so hard to work it in if it is available, because I don't really want to wait 2 whole go rounds because I'm in the middle of something else. So if I pick up tidying up, then my focus is on completing tidying up. I want to get it done as fast as possible, because if Ona wasn't available and hasn't been available this whole time, she's almost certainly going to be available as soon as tidying up is done. That's my basic logic for that. So, get this done quickly. And I do go ahead and mount up between the tables. It feels like 6 of one, half a dozen other almost, but feels slightly faster. Hey, your head's visible. Good job. One of the things I would love to do, and I don't know if Ona's timing is consistent enough for this, but I would like to have a timer that when your account sees, or when you see Ona talking on a server, that is just like, cool, okay, well she starts every 10 minutes, therefore you have this long. But I was glancing at chat and it wasn't that perfect. It definitely felt like there was a drift in there of a few seconds. And so it would definitely be an approximation until the next time you're near enough to her to see her talking, and then it could synchronize again. This goes a lot better if there's no delay. There we go. But certainly, it'd be neat if the plugin had a sense of when was the last time it saw Ona K speak. So when is the likely next time that it'll be available. I'm not sure where I would want to display this, because we already have some extra windows for emotes that pop up that aren't the most graceful of windows. And so I don't think I'd want to do just that again. But right now, the quick guide doesn't really have a concept of variable text. Though I think it would be neat if, for these things like pick up 10 dirty dishes, if it would go ahead and update. So you didn't need your quest guide at all, and it would say, oh, you've got 9 of the dirty dishes. And that's very doable, because we know what the expression looks like. And right now we're just looking for 10 of 10, but we could be looking for X of 10, and then parse out what X is, and use that to update these in some way. Okay, that was all of them. Let's go ahead and turn it in and check in on Ona K. Now, it does sometimes take a moment for the trigger to release, but here she is, biggest stomach of them all. Now, we can keep questing as long as you don't leave Frostbluff, maybe even then. But definitely if you're within Frostbluff, you will get credit for being at her, for waiting. Oh, right, Virgil, I need your stuff. Can't just pick up sticks. Okay, this circle out of town is pretty straightforward. Just make a big loop. I like going this way because I want to stop by Virgil anyway, so the eggs feel like the next closest thing here. So I always end up going in a clockwise fashion. I don't think there's any downside if you end up going counterclockwise, but that's why I keep doing that, because I get the Snow Person quest as soon as possible. I think it's one of those, if I'm ever called away to help out a Kenny or go to the kitchen or something, and I come back and I've teleported somewhere else, I want to already have that quest to pick up the coal in my quest log. Okay, now this is my burglar, which I do not know how to play, and I know that my burglar has like a ranged ability, which is tossing the knife, but I don't really know much else, so I'm just going to run up to things and attack them. Unfortunately, if you're high enough level, it doesn't matter. There we go, 7. And that's 9. Okay. So yeah, Sandy, I agree. I end up running within the town back and forth multiple times because of the overlap in exclusive quests. But my goal is to be out in the wilds of Frostbluff only one time. Fantastic. This post-processing does add a navigation challenge. Okay. So that is the 4 winter weather that we had to disperse. Awesome. Okay, we can see "Let the Stuffing Begin" has been announced into quest chat. It's underneath my face, but that cleared out the wait for the eating contest to begin. So now that first table is available to us and will remain available to us indefinitely, as far as I can tell. It's possible if you log out, that could affect it. I can see my mount display panel is not where I like it to be. Okay, well, we just brought cheer, or tried to, so off to mushrooms. Bum, 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 bum. I like the Yule music. It's my preferred music from my personal house. Okay, so we have finished all of the outside the city stuff except for the actual building of the snow person. So importantly, we want to turn in moving them off first thing when we go back in, because that unlocks charitable spirit. And I want the quest credit much more than I want the 4 tokens of Yule tokens. Oh, speak tomorrow or not, we have to come back to her later. So in the guide, I don't bother to, but for the daily one-off quest, yeah, you can turn it in. There's no harm. Okay, so cold as ice, we can turn in. We can get that charitable spirit, and the making mischief is all as well. We can turn that in. But yes, now it's time to do the second circuit of the beggars. Jack Judson by the theater. Bill Hyde by the table. And then duck back up the stairs. Before we continue on, let's go ahead and grab the coal, the baking of the bread, and hopefully an actual keg this time. Just right says, I usually do, like you, a big circle on the outside, then finish up with the in-town quests. Yeah, and of course the only complication is you do need to make sure you have all of the quests that involve going out of town before you go out, or else you end up doing circles out there as well. Okay, that's all of my breads. I feel like breads is not correct. Is bread a plural noun? I think the problem is usually it's things of bread, like loaves of bread or whatever. I need 5 loaves of bread, but bread is always singular. So I need 1 bread, I need 5 bread, 5 breads. I don't know. Okay, now we can go ahead. We've got all 4 of these complete, so we'll just swing on around and turn those in. Tidying up was already turned in, as it turns out. Now there's a kind of a shortcut out of town here if you're willing to jump over a wall. So let's go ahead and take that. Usually I do the closest snow pile to Virgil if I don't want the giant broken snow person. Okay. And then we want to go back in the front entrance because we're going to pick up with the charitable spirit with Barrett Noel, who is next to Mara Sandy Downs. Now, at this point, if we had already done biggest stomach of them all, we would have those 10 quests needed in order to turn in the daily wrapper with Mara. But we did not do that. And that could have maybe been a reason to do that when we first came back into town. Nope, Ted Ives, you're hiding very well. There is thoughts on bread. I'm going to go ahead and pick up my first couple of dishes here. See if we get a magic potion. Egg Arthur thinks as a count noun of bread or breads, the references to varieties of bread, e.g. sourdough and pumpernickel would be breads. Just right, also thinks that bread can be plural. Fantastic. All right, we got some stuff. We did not see a mystical magical drink. That's okay. All right, everything that's not breads or pies has been eaten, so I'm just going to pause here for a second. I feel like this timing is more generous than I've seen in the past. Like a full minute feels like more. Now maybe I'm just misremembering. It's quite possible. All right, well, the cat has left, so I'm going to get my head back in frame. But that just feels like a ridiculously long time. But maybe I'm just very used to like trying to compete with other people or something. All right, so we're going to go ahead and mount up first. Just right says, great, now I want some sourdough. I know, right? You know, one of the things I miss that is bread related here in the Netherlands is a variety of bagels. If you don't want plain or sesame, if you're feeling spicy, then you're probably out of luck at your local grocery store. You can go to a restaurant chain called Bagels and Beans, and there's probably some other ones, but that's kind of it. And if you want like an everything bagel, good luck. So one of these days I'm going to try my hand at making bagels at home, but I don't have any of the apparatus to do it like a big factory would do it, so we'll see. 3. All right. Well, once again, we've got 40 seconds on the clock, so we're going to see if that drink spawns here. Otherwise, we do have some berries here. I know, just right says, what? No cinnamon raisin bagel? Well, again, if you go to a Bagels and Beans, they have a wider variety of bagels, unless you want a gluten-free bagel, in which case you get plain. But it's a little extravagant to go to, a restaurant for an everything bagel. All right, coming on down, last table. Now, what's funny is even if you just got that mystery drink to clear all of your effects, even if you get it here, you still have the you've eaten too much post-processing effect. That did not clear. That made things worse. I've got enough effects. I'm going to grab these eggs first, and then I'll grab some pie. I was abandoned by the cat who saw someone in the kitchen. Okay, so that's all of those tables, and that's the end of this quick guide. That was about 15 minutes for this character. And again, there was me talking, and it was probably a little bit of inefficiencies, but I feel like being able to clear a festival's worth of quests in 15 minutes is not bad. You get a fair number of Yule tokens for it. You get legendary item experience. So we just got 3 boxes at the 101 level. And, experience, because over here on Treebeard, our level cap just went up. So got to work through that blue bar somehow. Okay, so that's a quick guide. And until such time where it can be modified more extensively by the user, that feels like a reasonable ordering of things. And the nice thing is, the quick guide does not care what order you actually do them in. It'll recognize when you do things and mark them off. So if you do things in a different order, at the end of the day, you'll look back and say, oh, here's the 3 things I forgot, and everything else will have been cleared. So I feel like there's still utility there for someone who doesn't like the particular order. But what we need to do before this can be released is the quest to include in Quick Guide, this Midsummer label, that needs to be a drop-down where we can select which festival we're doing. It doesn't actually have to be. There could just be another section right below this, but I think we're getting to a point where it's a good idea to make this variable. So let's come back in and see where we're at. Oh, and there's this fun bug that I need to fix, and I think I've already logged it. Bug, yes, great. Okay, so let's start by getting rid of those automatic stuffing quest pickups. In fact, I've logged it twice here. I'm so excited about doing it. Okay, so we're going to do this just by doing a global find in the project. And I'm super excited. This is a behind-the-scenes thing, but I keep have been mentioning that I wanted to split out the repositories for various plugins. So here's all the dtracker stuff, and here's the Festival Buddy stuff. And it's finally done. This is just the Festival Buddy repository. No more intermixing changes between dtracker and Festival Buddy and Minstrel buff. They're all separate now. And I ended up doing it in a way that that is not 100% what I wanted to do. What I was thinking of was... Oh, that's funny. No, I was just misremembering. So what I wanted to do was have multiple Git repositories homed in the same place, which is the Load Learning's online plugins. And so, or even Cube plugins. So that Festival Buddy would be here, and also dtracker, and that way the .plugin files and the .plugin companion files could be a part of the repository. But that ended up looking harder. It was too much effort for too little reward. So I just said, never mind. And the .plugin and .plugin companion files, they're not a part of the repository. And that makes me a little sad, but they're so easily replaceable. You just download the previous version of the plugin and bump the version number. And they change so rarely. So I'm not super jazzed that they're not a part of the repository. And you could have them in the repository and then just copy them out when they change. But anyway, that was my solution, is just to say, nope, we're not going to bother with the .plugin files at all. And each directory within Cube plugins will be its own Git repository. And then you don't have multiple .git directories trying to coexist. And you don't have to try to tell Git, oh no, that's over here, that's over here, that's over here. So if you are running into this yourself, that was my solution. It was a compromise, which was to say, can't have it all, but what I can do is much easier. Anyway, so let's come on in. And we've got a pretty clean working directory. So we're going to come in to, we can see here, we're going to delete that. We're going to delete this. We're going to delete this. And these are already commented out, so we know it's a pretty safe thing to do. Hey, little one. You're loafing back up next to me. Thank you. Okay. What else do we have? This was already commented. This was already commented. So that's super exciting. All the things that we want to delete are already ready to be deleted because we can see they're already commented out. So, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and preemptively delete anything else we encounter here. So, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5, and 3, 4, 5. Awesome. Now I did miss that, I think. Yep, okay. So we're going to get 3, 4, and 5 here. All right, so 5, no, 4, 3, 2, in fact, let's just search for it without the underscore. Cool. Okay, so that is that. Now, when we look at the change here, we should see very consistent changes. I'm going to go ahead and launch that in an external viewer. Okay, so we can see we deleted 2, 3, 4, 5. That's great. Deleted 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. We didn't miss anything in our excitement and haste. Another 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and say yes, done with that. Okay. So what is this bug? If you hold down shift when an objective is detection completed, it acts like a shift click. Well, what does shift click do? Now, I don't know if this is a good idea, but I introduced the idea of shift clicking, and this was just to complete things up to a certain point. Like if I've have completed take cold as ice and everything before it, I could shift click. Oh, I've commented that off. Of course it's not going to work. Hang on. Where is this? Quick guide win. Okay. Okay, unload and reload. So, shift click, taking mischief, everything before it completes. At the time that I came up with this seemed like a good idea. But I gotta say, with all of the automatic detection that we can do now, I feel like this was a very early feature that seemed good, like a good idea at the time, probably because I wasn't doing automatic detection. And then almost everything is automatically detectable. So single click makes sense. And so this is a bug that is fixable. When you click one of these boxes, that sends us down a certain code path. And we go down that same code path when we automatically detect a quest completion, like, oh, you turned in a quest, you did a quest objective, whatever. We go and we execute that same code as if that box had been clicked. But vitally, we can do other things before that, like register a variable that says, we're in the middle of automatic detection, don't do the shift thingamajiggy. So there is the right way to do this, which is to say we're in a special case, look for that special case in the shift handler, and then say we're no longer in the special case when we finish it up. So it's, set the variable, call the function, unset the variable. That's a classic pattern to solve this kind of a problem. But I'm not actually sure that shift click feature is good. It's not easily discoverable. There's no documentation for it, and I don't know that anyone uses it. So I guess, Sandy, you use the quick guide. Did you know that that was a thing? Did you ever make use of it? And I guess I would pose that to Little Redhead as well, who might be listening in the background. Did you know that you can shift click to clear multiple objectives? Was that ever useful to you? And is that a good idea to have it in the system? Oh, okay. Just right says you did know and you do use it. I'm curious, if you don't mind. Little Red did not know and did not use it. Okay. Well, Xana, you probably saw me developing this, so you might have seen the behind the scenes. But I am curious where you make use of that, and if it's worth keeping in, or if it's a complicated feature that doesn't deserve to be in there. I'm going to take a drink. Well, perhaps you have time to type that. All right. Just in case Sandy is going to answer it once more time, what else? What do we have? Okay. So Sandy says, they're a list maker in real life. You like things marked off. I don't do all the quests, so nice to mark off the ones I don't plan to do that day. Now, one thing I will say is I think if you check off the turn in of a quest, everything else should be checked off. That should work on the automatic detection. Let's look at this. So if I say turn in tidying up to Basil, oh, it doesn't do it. Interesting. Oh, one of the things I forgot to do was to check for stashes related to Festival Buddy. Okay, I think we're good there. Show beat debug options equals true. Okay. Do I have the ability to complete a quest yet? Awesome. Okay, let's say I finished tidying up. Complete. Yeah. Okay, accept. Okay, well that's actually a mistake because it should know that tidying up is a part of that. So cool, nice to find bugs. Let's go take a look at that. We're going to come into Yule, probably Yule here. Tidying. Oh, there we go. I did not include things properly. Okay, so other thing that we want to do is go ahead and double check this for all of these because this is manually constructed. There's the possibility for mistakes here. So I'm going to hoist that into a Sublime text window. Make sure we're not doing word wrap, and then we're going to go ahead and get rid of everything that's not the name of these things. And in fact, we're just going to go ahead and sort all of these. And that'll be enough for us to kind of double check ourselves. I'm going to move this over a little bit so we have some more space. Okay, so for the Birkin Snowman chain, well, okay, we'll do them in the order of the code. In Spirit of Yule, there's two things there, end and pickup, done. And that's why all of these ends come before pickups, because I chose pickup and end, which do not sort alphabetically, and now I regret my choices there. Okay, so moving them off, we should see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So moving them off. Barrett had. Oh, these are not alphabetically. That's so weird. I think those are. Some of these are in quest order. Well, that's strange. Ted Ives, Regina, Jack, Bill Hyde, and pickup. Great. Okay. The Abominable Snow Beasts. Under T. Okay, that's just the 3. It's going to be funny if these are just the 3 that did it. Cold as Ice, Disperse, and Pickup. Great. Making Mischief. 4 of them. Okay. Empty Keg Emergency. All right, that's the 3. Tidying Up. Yeah, somehow these got missed. That's hilarious. Okay, so we want to go ahead and just do the quick little transformation here. We want to add this prefix and go ahead and add equals true. Just inserts it into the table to have an entry there. And then we can go ahead and paste that in. All right, stuffing the stuffed. Missing that as well. Bonkers. Well, cool. Well, Sandy, thanks so much for helping me find this error. I appreciate it. Oops. All right, stuffing the stuffed. Unwilling firewood. Wow, yeah, okay. I just, it was late at night when I was doing this, so apparently I did not come back and check this after I put just the beginning and end in place. Should probably have had a checklist for doing this. Okay, Broken Snow Person. We do want that as well. You know what? I'm going to put that there. Okay, so again, do a multi-edit here. If you're doing the same thing multiple times, consider whether you actually need to do it more than once. A charitable spirit. My goodness, so many missed. Okay. The biggest stomach of them all. Oh, this one's interesting. Okay, so we have 2, 3, 4, 5. the end for all of those. So N, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's all good. Pickup is good. But we need wait, and we need station 1. And then in each of the others, we need this. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we need station 1 and wait over here. And then we need station 2. And I don't have failure. And I should probably account for failures there, although I don't know how to fail, but I think you can do it. All right, biggest stomach, especially what happens if they fail? For the keg emergency, it doesn't matter. You can just redo it right away. But I think if you lose at any of the tables for biggest stomach, that you just don't get to do it anymore that day, which is very sad. Okay, so we have end, but we also need station. Okay. Oh, that's 3. That's funny. All right, station 2, 4, and 5. Like I said, though, I mean, somewhat jokingly, but it is, I don't know if difficult's the right word. If you are not competing with other people for the good stuff at tables, so that berries, mushrooms, and eggs, if they appear, are yours for the taking, and if you mount up before you turn on the quest in order to ride quickly between tables, and, I mean, really, that's it. If you do those 2 things, then I find that completing biggest stomach of them all is always pretty feasible. Mystery drinks are lovely, but they're not necessary. And a table full of berries is lovely, but it's not necessary. I've gone with pies sometimes when I'm in a hurry and I don't want to wait for more food to respawn. So I think it's very doable if you are familiar with it. Of course, yeah, failing early on because you load up on a bunch of bread and you didn't know any better, sure, that can happen. But it's generous in the time. I think if you had to pick up some pies and breads early on, by the time you hit that last table, that might start be getting really painful. But if you've been cautious in what you're eating, if you're mindful of always doing berries if you can, then mushrooms if you can, then eggs if you can, and only then pies, like if you do that, if you know that priority list, then yeah, I'm not going to say it's impossible to fail, but it's definitely the rare exception. Just right says, yeah, I don't care for timed quests, but I almost always complete that one, maybe not during busy times. Yeah, definitely. One of the things and I think Little Redhead mentioned this too, love to do is grab that quest from Ona and then keep on going, because you want anyone standing around and who's going when that quest is turns over, you want them out of the way. So if you can be out in the field while this is happening and like 5 minutes later you come back in and no one's eating at any of the tables, perfect. Delightful, no notes. Okay. Yule Festival Daily End. Doesn't really, isn't part of a quest chain. Filling the field. Cool. And pick up, I guess we already did stuff there. Collect. Oh, that's embarrassing. I put unwilling firewood in filling the field. Well, that's not going to work, is it? All right, so we're actually going to come into source control and take a look at that filling the field bit. Oh, fork.dev, why do you have this one bug that affects probably only me? I did it a second time. If you try to launch your external diff and you have deselected the file to do the diffing on, it doesn't like that. Okay, filling the field. Okay, so it is just these 2. Great. And I guess that makes sense. But if you finish filling the field, you should also finish, kind of definitionally, a broken snowman. So let's come on down to filling the field here. Filling the field. When we end filling the field, we should. Why did I make it? Chain end should be a list of things, not just a single thing. Oh well. That's fine. Okay. So let's go ahead and unload and reload and check this out. So what we should see for realsy is when we go ahead and turn in tidying up. Okay, auto detect. When you turn in tidying up, awesome. It should automatically finish everything else. Why does it not do that when you click it? I feel like there was a technical issue that made that harder than I wanted it to be. But let's go ahead and get this change in there first. So this is added missing elements of questions. Okay, neat. That can go too. Yeah, so, okay. So I guess if that worked, Sandy, I wonder, would you need this shift clicking if you could just go and, turn in the tidying up quest or click the tidying up quest, and when you click it, everything related to that just goes away. I'm wondering if that would fill the same sort of use case that you're talking about. But let's go ahead and look into this anyway. Okay, so we need to go into the quick guide window. And so if the shift key is down, then we go through each of them, we set them checked. That's actually pretty simple. Let's go into the chat logger and see what happens when it detects something. Actually, the options window might be fine because complete. Okay, button complete. What happens here? We go to filter quest as if we had just completed the thing. Okay, that's super easy. So we want to come to filter quest and pretend as if we just completed the thing. So filter completed quest, great. Find selected quest in chat text. Quick guide when handle quest complete message. Okay. So if there's a quick guide and a corresponding quest, mark the quest chain. Fascinating. So we actually had a question begin or end. Okay, so the mark complete doesn't do the thing. How can I call this correctly when the user clicks the box manually? Look, I had this problem. Funny. But why not just do what we did over here? Which was handle quest chain begin or end. Okay. Okay, so where is the checkbox clicking? Quick guide when handle checked entry. Great. So this is called from the check. Okay. Let's fix that shift issue right now. Actually, let's verify that it still does what we think. So if I hold down shift while I hit complete, we can see the bug where everything up until that was marked off because the shift button was being held down. But that should only be not during automatic detection. And so chat logger, filter completed quest. It's not just filter completed quest though. We need it on in progress is completed or failed. Oh, handle quest channel text. Great. Now it's funny because it sure feels like we'd get this called. Could we be multiple processing things? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and just output a quick little debug message. And we want that on filter completed quests as well, which is a quick guide when handle. Yep. I want to go ahead and output that as well. And we're not going to bother to output C message. I have a general idea of what it's going to be. And so what I want to see, let's go ahead and just reset that guide, is if we go ahead and complete this, we see oh, hey. I should pull this plugin window out. Put it somewhere. Okay. So we saw quick guide when handle quest completed and also quest channel text. So there's some redundancy happening. I don't think it's going to be a problem, but I think it would be easiest if we're in chat logger. We can go ahead and tell the quick guide right now that we're doing that. So function quick guide begin quick guide filter quest begin and function quick guide filter quest end. And this is just so we can mark that internally. We're going to just have a little thing. So w quick guide one parent dot is filter quest happening equals false. And we're going to go ahead and say, I know you don't like that. We're going to say that equals true, and that equals false. And in filter quest, we're going to go ahead and just call those functions. And end. And what that does is that allows us to say, and what should the last thing in this function should be first thing in this function. And that allows us to know whether or not we are in the middle of processing something. And then we can key our shift behavior off of this. If filter quest is happening, don't do it. So let's go back to our shift code. So if is not that, Sorry about that. Okay, so if we are not in the middle of filter happening and shift is down, then go ahead and do stuff. Let's go ahead and take a look and see, does that actually fix the problem? We were able to demonstrate it by taking advantage of the debug functionality. So I'm going to hold down shift and mark complete, and we can see only the things that should have been are marked complete. Fantastic. And if we mark accept, we're going to go ahead and get all of that back, and hold down shift, complete, it goes back. Now we can check that this does what we think it should do by commenting out just the part of the check that we just added. Bring this back in, and go ahead and shift complete, and we can see, yes, holding shift down is triggering the bad behavior. Add in that check here, and go ahead and, go ahead and reset this whole thing at this point. Hold down shift and mark complete, and we can see, just like we predicted, if we say we're in the middle of special processing, do the special processing, we're no longer in the middle of special processing, that allows us to conditionally do this behavior and make it so it's only happening when we want it, which is when the user is clicking on a thing. Because our two cases are the user clicked on a thing or we got it from chat. Okay. That's really cool. Let's go ahead and commit that before we go any further. So we want to mark that in our to-do file. And this is actually an existing bug, so we're going to put this in as a bug fix. Bug fix. Fixed bug in quick guides that paid attention to shift key when it sometimes shouldn't. Okay, good enough. So that's that. We also need to delete it in the to-do file. So it's the bug. Fantastic. We're going to take that, fixed shift while chat complete bug. And that's the chat logger, and that's the quick guide window. Whoopsie. That's the is filter happening, yes, these two functions, and that just keeps other parts of the code from having to dig in and look at that one specific member. That'll make this a little bit easier to keep encapsulated. Awesome. The actual check here, adding this, great. And oops, there's two debug statements that I do not want to commit, so we're going to discard those right now. Perfect. Add it in, ship it out. I haven't pushed it yet. Okay, perfect. Okay, so that was a fix for the shift thing. So Sandy, if you do shift, it'll still work for now. I have not nixed that functionality, but I have fixed the bug. Okay. Why is it when I click something that ends, it does not propagate? I would like that to happen. We saw that in the chat logger, when something's completed, we go through a special path, which is the quick guide handle quest completed. And this handle quest begin or end. That is safe to call on anything. Okay, what happens if I call it? Let's find the node.click when we add one of those. Create node, great. Check changed? Sure. Okay, are we paying attention in here to whether it is checked or not? What is state? Okay, I'm going to say if checkbox dot is checked, then go ahead and call that on index. Let's see if that does anything close to what I want it to. So we're going to go ahead and turn in tidying up. Ooh, that's neat. I got a Stack Overflow though, a bunch of them. Okay, so there's obviously a recursive function being called there. Fantastic. Let's put a pin in that. Causes stack overflows. Okay. Checkbox check changed equals true. And what is this? This is this thing. Actually, we can just say checkbox get text. Might be a little bit easier. All right, let's unload, reload, maybe cause fewer stack overflows. No promises. The in chat says, nice, but where's the critical function that makes the character eat a tomato like Denethor did? I'm pretty sure that was his own version of a stack overflow. Okay, so if I click in turning in tidying up, I get checkbox change equals true, turn in tidying up to Basil if you have a, okay, so that was fine. So what is the objective here? We have this thing. If we pull this out, local objective equals, then we can go ahead and simplify this down to objective. We could even do the dot notation for objective dot display. But we can also say if checkbox is checked and objective dot chain begin does not equal nil, an accessor function for that might be nice. Then we'll go ahead and do this thing that caused stack overflows before. Cool. Let's go ahead and reset this thing. Yeah, little one. Okay, so tidying up, turn in tidying up. Well, now that doesn't do anything. Oh, I said chain begin, didn't I? End. Chain end. Of course. Okay, so tidying them up. I think I lost it. Okay, but I think I just saw it working. So turn in tidying up. If you click that, oh, that's really exciting. What if we turn in something else? If we turn in biggest stomach of them all, well, each of these is its own little thing. If we turn in a charitable spirit, we see all of those going away. If you turn in making mischief, stuffing the stuffed, unwilling fire hose, a broken snowman, making mischief, moving them off, cold as ice. Okay. That. Oh, hey, yeah, cool. Error messages. Um, attempt to index local chain and nil value 286. 286. What is that? It does need a null check. Okay, so what are we doing here? We are iterating through all of the tree views, and if that tree node's index appears in this chain, then do stuff. But if chain never gets set to not nil, then we should not do that. Let's go ahead and is chain begin, objective chain begin, or objective chain end? Okay, so if chain is not equal to nil, or just if chain, then end. We can go ahead and indent the rest of this. Now, we'll see that the IntelliSense no longer thinks chain needs a nil check. That is great. Unfortunately, oh, Yule Festival Daily. Right, okay, let's go ahead and turn in Yule Festival Daily. And it was fine. Huh. Okay, the timer on things clearing is wonky. Checkbox update. Checkbox.hide time. Okay, that tree view refresh. Okay, where does this hide time get set? Okay, should be 5 seconds. But it definitely seems like it's getting abbreviated from that. If something else was cleared 4 seconds ago and you clear this one, it seems like they both go away. So let's go ahead and document that. Bug. Completion, hiding times for distinct checkboxes don't seem to be distinct. Complete something. 3 seconds later, complete something else. Notice both get hidden 2 seconds later. Now I've typed up those repro steps. We should actually verify that they work. So I've gone ahead and reset the quick guide. And what I want to do is take empty connect emergency 1001, 1002, 1003, and tidy up 1004, 1005. Well, that didn't work. Okay. Tidying up 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. Well, that part is working great. Okay, so it's the completing quest change that's messing me up. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. Yes. What is it about quest chains that is messing up? Well, okay, that turbine output right there is getting to me. Hang on, right line. Okay. What we want to do is any place where we're setting that time, we want to go ahead and output that. Okay, so checkbox hide time. Anytime where we're modifying that, we want to go ahead and output that and get a sense of, is this happening when we don't want it to? So turbine.shell.writeLine updated hide time of, and then we want the checkbox get text. That's odd. Oh. It doesn't know what it is. Okay. That's fine. Needs better annotation. To now plus 5. Sure, we'll go ahead and customize that. Seconds. Okay. And then is there any other time where we are doing this? In fact, let's just search everywhere. Okay, so that's comparing. That's fine. Dot hide time equals and that. These are the only times. And then let's check this comparison. Tree node dot complete. That is also something we care about. Okay, not that. Quick guide, yes. The filter. Let's come back to that. Dot complete equals this. That's for the creating node. That's fine. Setting node complete. And we're going to say that that is check box get text. Okay, where else? Oh, cat just got very excited.
I think maybe I moved fast.
All right, so we have a tree node dot stuff dot checkbox. Okay, so we need a tree node dot checkbox to get text. Okay. Well, that's tree node dot complete. Okay, this is also tree node dot complete. Good. So let's use this to get a better sense of what's going on. So we're going to go ahead and reset. And then just go ahead and complete these two chains. 1001, 1002, 1003, and that. Okay, so what are we seeing here? Updated hide time to now plus 5 seconds. Hang on, I'm losing some coherency here. Let's go ahead and reset. All right, so we're starting at this blue festival. Um, so what happens when we just do a single one? Biggest time of the ball, now plus 5 seconds, and updated high time of eat fruit at fifth station, now plus 5 seconds. And then setting node.complete to that and that and that again, which is a little concerning, but as long as it's not a Stack Overflow situation, we'll deal with it. Okay, so what does it look like when you have two of them? Okay, we can see that tree node.complete was completed 5 seconds later, which is what it should have been, but it was still filtered out. So the filter function, there's something wrong with that, because this is behaving correctly, which is nice to see. Now the filter function, now I'm a little concerned because this filter function is calling this on this anonymous function, and that really feels like it should be its own function. So let's make that function quick guide tree view filter function. Okay, and we'll go ahead and bring this all in, except we need to go ahead and hoist out that parameter to the actual function definition, and everything can get outdented. Awesome. Okay, so quick sanity check, and then we start doing stuff. We get the tree node.index. We can get the quest chain from the index. Is the chain used? From the settings. Is the entry complete? And is reset. Okay, so what do we know about this is entry complete, which is tree node.complete? Setting tree node.complete. Oh, are we setting it right away? Maybe that's the thing. Updated to now plus 5 and setting to complete. That's what it is. Tree node.complete is being set right away instead of, instead of after that 5 second expires. And so when we rerun the filter function, it is naturally hiding the thing because we told it to. Fantastic. Okay. And I didn't actually update the reference set filter function, did I? Set filter function equals this. Great. Neat. So that dot complete. Okay, so what happens if we don't set it complete there? What if we check the box instead? One thousand, 2,000, 3,000, 4,005. Neat. Okay. This was preemptively setting complete what we needed it to be set based off the checkbox being checked. Because when the checkbox is checked, Well, in theory, okay, where does set want updates happen? Set wants updates. Okay, that's in the handle checked entry. So by being checked, we set wants updates to true, and then within that set wants updates, we check if it's been long enough. Great. Yes, just right. Says, how many checkboxes can you check when you check the checkboxes that need checked? Short answer, all of them. Okay, and I didn't see any Stack Overflows pop up. Awesome. So if we go ahead and turn in tidying up, but also, oops. Okay, turn in moving them off, and also the abominable snow beasts. Then we can see those clearing at different times. That's awesome. Okay, so let's isolate the fix to just the code changes we want and nothing else. So what does this look like? Well, first of all, we moved the definition of this function around, but I don't think we changed anything. We can test this by just checking. We'll align just this function. We can see all of this is the same, except for the white space where it was outdented. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that change first. Extracted inline function definition. Hey, little one. Did you just numb some food? Okay, so that is this, and that is this. And we can go ahead and commit that separately. Then, what do we have? I did it again. The T in chat says, I never thought there was this much work behind checkboxes. When they do this much, yes. A lot of times a checkbox is just a simple yes or no. Like the checkbox here, ideally would just be a yes or no. A cure for all ills, yes or no. But under the covers, that determines whether something is visible in this window. So here we go. Map auto open. That's a definite yes or no. You set it, you don't set it, and then in the future, whatever, when the map wants to auto open, it looks at that yes or no. But yeah, some have a lot more functionality behind them. Okay, so we have a right line statement. We're going to get rid of that. Another right line statement. Get rid of that. We're going to go ahead and get rid of this erroneous thing. Oh, actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and commit this change here, which is checking for that chain. Okay. Check for the existence of a chain before doing stuff with it. Super easy. And that is just all of this. But then we can bring back the removal of that line of code. And we should see just this and not the wacky outdenting that was a part of that other change. The T says, will you put an Easter egg? I am unlikely to have enough time to actually update this for Yule before Yule ends and think of Easter eggs to do and code them. I'm not necessarily against Easter eggs as a concept, but for depending on the target audience, there can be a fine line between an Easter egg and I don't know, a flaw in your plugin or a vulnerability in your plugin. So I guess if it was the right Easter egg and I had the time and the energy and whatnot, I'd be interested in that. But for now, there's enough real functionality that's higher on the list to do, I think. Interesting question, though. Thank you. Okay, so we have a bug fix here. What were we doing here with objective? We needed that. Okay, so there's a couple things here. And in fact, okay, we're going to delete that. Okay, so call check off rest of chain when user checks off chain finisher manually. Okay, and that is these changes here. The objective.chain end, yes. And the initialization of that. And the getting rid of the comment that asks how can we do that. Great. And make fix multiple chains. Fix bug where objectives can be hidden before their end second timer expires. Okay, and that is this, and also well, that was the bug. All right, I'll commit that. To do file changes. Again, if I was doing a little bit more professional operation of like using GitHub for bug tracking, I wouldn't be doing them in a text file like this, but one thing at a time. Great. Okay. Making really good progress here. Quick guide. Options, and what happens when biggest stomach fails? Well, that's actually a really good question of what happens when anything fails. Do we have failure for quick guides? You know what? Let's go ahead and go to the chat logger here. And we have fail quest. Let's come on in. If find selected quest in chat text, clear selected quest. All right. Yeah, no. The quick guide doesn't respect you failing quests. I think I'm not going to worry about that right now. I think if you fail a quest, it'll just be on you to figure out if you can take it again, which you can for like the empty keg emergency, or if you can't, like with the tables. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna leave that for now. Maybe if someone requests an improvement, we can look back into it. Cool. Okay. In that case, the options. The options are a big thing before I feel comfortable shipping this, which is in the options, we currently have the ability to customize which quests show up for Midsummer. And I'm going to fulfill my curiosity and count these things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, 18. I had a pretty good guess earlier. So yeah, with that, you could eliminate 8 of these things and still get your 10 daily. And so for some people, they don't want the tokens. They just want to complete the wrapper as fast as possible. Maybe they're looking for those Figments of Splendor or something. So what we would like is, first of all, make Yule show up. And second of all, don't show all of the quick guides at once. Just show a single one. But let's make Yule show up. I mean, that's the main thing I want. Okay, so quick guide. Draw quick guide options. Great. So what do we have here? We have... We're iterating through quest names. Okay. Quest names comes from here. And we're inserting that based off of... Okay, so Midsummer. We've got a lot of Midsummer specific stuff in here. Looks like 6 things that are specifically looking at Midsummer. Okay. But the rest of it, maybe not. So let's go ahead and take a look. So what's happening before here? All right, so quick guide, great. Then we have the remove completed checkbox. We have the clear what's the clear display label? Delay in seconds. Boy, is that not well named. Let's fix that. Delay in seconds label. Great. Okay, so fix that. Okay, clear delay text box. Again, we're going to fix that. Delay in seconds text box. Okay. And then quest guide options label. Quest to include label would be a better. Okay. Quick quests to include label. And then we have the specific stuff here. And then we have festival specific section. So let's go ahead and commit those changes by themselves. Renamed quick guide variables to be closer to what they represent. All right, so that's this, that is this, and that is this. Technically, that label is a different purpose. All right. So we have the festival specific section, and in globals, there is an array which says which festivals have quick guides. I don't think this is the right place for this to exist, but it does exist here. So we're going to go ahead and keep using it. And so we really just can iterate through this array for quick guides and use the key that we get out of that iteration in each of these places. And I think this is pretty generic. Like, for instance, if I went ahead and just said this is Yule instead of Midsummer, I'm very curious if this will work. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Wow, that is not right, but it is not necessarily wrong. Not completely. Huh. I just disconnected from LOTRO stream chat. The T says, how long does testing phase take for a plugin before releasing? I think every plugin author will have their own ideas on that, but I would say that I try to test an individual change as I am writing it. And if there's a lot of complicated stuff, I might go ahead and revisit each item. And that's one of the reasons I try to keep my README up to date. So in the 203 change, I can see, oh, okay, here's what we added here. Oh, I should make 204. Haha, version 204 changes. So going through each of these, and figuring out, oh, what changed, and if it's a big enough change, maybe go through and test it. Ideally, adding a feature or fixing a feature in one place doesn't impact too much else of your plugin, but it is possible to write poorly structured code in Lua, just like in any language. Did I really add a harvest math quick guide? That doesn't sound right at all. I'm not sure why I said it like that. Added Harvest Math. Quest guides. Phew. Added Yule quick guide. There we go. So, yeah, given my chat connection issue, I don't know if you were able to hear that answer, but yeah, ultimately, because I'm testing as part of development, the actual, oh, does it work? I tend not to spend a lot of time with that. Instead, what I'll usually do if it's a more complicated release is toss out a beta build onto the my Discord server, and anyone who wants to try it out before the full release can do so. And then if they have any problems, it's a limited audience of people who have problems, and usually they're pretty responsive about getting me the information I need to fix it. Debugging something over email or forum posts is definitely more challenging, so it's nice to avoid that when you can. Okay. Festivals at Yule quick, good. Okay, that's good information to have. So, what is going on here? Yule, we definitely have the name of the festival correct. Quest name to key equals that. Quest names. Okay. I think it's reasonable to say that quest names is not working. And so let's go ahead and do turbine. Well, first of all, let's undo that a sec. And we're going to come on in here and say turbine.shell.writeline. And we're going to say k and dump k, and v and dump v. And I want to see what that looks like. Okay. So what we're seeing is the quest chains. Okay, that makes sense because we're iterating through the quest chains. And so the name equals, we're taking the key and we're going to the quests and we're getting that. Cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab that as well. Name. That's name. And then we quest name to key equals, populating that, and k. Yeah. Yeah, let's take a look at that. Okay, so we're seeing something, place something in blue, okay. Unhelpful hounds, sweet treats, tasty morsels, wedding supplies, all of this is great. Now let's figure out what's different when we do it with Yule. So we come in here to Midsummer, we're going to replace it to Yule. We're looking for that exact thing. Yule 6. Okay, let's come on back in. Okay, so definitely that lookup name, get string quests. Let's come on in. What's going on with Yule? What an interesting vulnerability. The quick guide is dependent on there being quest entries in the strings. And that those quest entries match. And we know that that is not the case. Okay. So let's come on into the chain. Oh, that's in the non-language specific. Okay. Okay. And in the quest strings, no, just in strings. is that doing that? Okay, so Yule. So, might be easier to go ahead and just extract the names of these quest chains from here. So we're just going to come on in, trim off the very start of this. Oops. Trim off that semicolon, sort these just in case, and go ahead and permute them to unique. And those are the names that we're currently working with. Okay. So, biggest stomach of them all is fine, but we do want to go ahead and fix the name. So, biggest stomach of them all, we're going to rename it like this, and that's fine. Coming back into strings, that's that. Empty keg emergency, we're going to go ahead and, yep, rename it here, or rename it there. Great. Snow beasts. Abominable snow beasts. Okay. Villain extra, protagonist, and theater are not related to this, but stuffing stuffed, yes. Okay, so what we're going to see, ideally, kind of, is that those four will be properly shown in the options. Oh no, interesting. All right, what else? Oh, that's got to get saved. Okay, saving all. Cool. Cool. So those four are being shown. Excellent. The other ones need entries, and this is a thing that I was going to do if I had time today, but I think I'm actually running up against the clock. So either during this week or on next week's stream, we're going to be fleshing out the rest of these quests, and maybe even working on the existing ones as well. So empty keg emergency, I think it'd be well worth having a little image showing the map where the keg is picked up, the route I think 99% of people take, which is the high road, and then you jump over the wall, the quest giver, all of that. So having a little map for that is great. Oh yeah, and the text here spells out the same thing. So we can just make a little map for it, just like we did with, for instance, Harvest Math, Celador, oh, not that, Race to the Haunted Wing, where you actually incorporate a map of the Haunted Wing, or not Gathering Gourds, Wailing in the Haunted Burrow, any of those, or any of the Midsummer maps, where you're able to get really detailed information about quest just from the graphics of it, where you're like, oh, okay, I know what's going on now. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing either during the week or next week, is taking advantage of the ability to put a map up here. Now, this festival actually makes use of the debuff timers, so I'm a little concerned about that, because for other festivals I've been able to cover things up and it's not a problem, or doesn't feel like a problem. I'm not sure what to do about that. I do wonder how much people use them. I assume a non-zero amount. But for some of these, maybe one could use the lower half of this space for it or something. I don't know. That's a problem for future me. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and clean up the output code, well, the code that we've got so far. And, these things were tab aligned. And I'm not a huge fan of tab aligning things, but if everything is already tab aligned, it feels a shame to throw it away just for laziness sake. Okay, so that's all good. Okay, so I'm going to see if any of this should be committed, delete that turbine debug statement. So now's a good time to get those last minute thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, whatnot into chat. And we'll bring this to some sort of orderly close. Okay, this is going to be updated existing Yule quest keys to match quick verbose quick guide versions. Okay, that's that. And that is this. Cool. Okay, so next time, let's go ahead and document in the to-do file. What are we going to do next time? Each item, each quest to show up in options needs an entry in the lang, in the strings.lua lang table. Finish adding quest guides for each of those first, question mark. Sandy says, the Yule quick guide is not available yet. I think it could be in its current state. It's a little incomplete. I would say I'd be happy to share it if you want me to send you a version of it that you can play around with. Happy to do that. But without the ability to come in and customize the options, I guess there's not that much to customize. Yeah, let me come back in to the options window and okay, so that's options win. Yule, and we're going to go ahead and search for that. And midsummer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that should fix this for right now. Yeah, I would say I could probably do a release of this, or just send it to you privately, if you wanted to get a chance to play with it. And just being aware that, whoops. We don't have the ability to customize stuff, and it doesn't currently change any of the quest guides in the body of this. It just adds the quick guide window somewhere. Oh, there it is. Haha. That's right. It says you might still be playing Crick Hollow for a bit, even though you're unsubbed. Happy to test it out for me. Fantastic. Okay, that will give me some motivation maybe to release this partial version so that you can get a chance to play around with that. So it's not out yet, but you know what? We have a couple minutes. Let's show what a release looks like. Oh, you know what? Hang on. Let me put those into strings. Yule. Cool. Okay, so those are future. Well, that's fine. And readme. Now, let's do a quick little comparison to make sure that is all correct. Small tweaks. Right, that's comments and white space. Okay. Cool. So at this point, the only thing that we don't want to release is that show debugs option. So we'll just leave that as it is. And we're going to go ahead and pull up documents, plug it along releases, and we're going to look at the last one, Festival Buddy 2 version 2.0.3, and spin off a new copy 204. Now, one thing we want to do is go ahead and update the .plugin file. Again, this isn't source controlled anymore, so try not to mess it up too badly, me. Okay, so that's updated to 2.04, awesome. And we're going to go ahead and do a comparison between the two of these, just to see what has changed. Now, I don't care about the .git file, but we can see, cool, 204, awesome, just what I want it to be. And we can come on in to Festival Buddy. Now, don't care about that, don't care about that, nope. Libraries, what has changed? Let's actually, oh right, no, that's fine. Okay, so I did some white space changes here, which is to say spaces, tabs, that kind of thing. There were a bunch of mixtures of tabs and spaces, and I'm firmly in the camp of pick one or the other and stick to it. Hey, you. And in this case, I much prefer spaces over tabs. So this was a chance to go ahead and really just get rid of those. And you can see there were tabs, now there are spaces. Much better. Okay, same thing here, great. Now it's an internal change. It should have absolutely no effect on the visible state of the plugin. So that's the kind of thing that I don't bother putting into a release document, because the release document, from my perspective, for a game plugin is what has changed that I, as a player, can notice. And the fact that your code is now cleaner and easier for you to work with, I'm knocking it out. Doesn't matter. Okay, so there's a button here. Don't care about minor changes. I do care about them to the extent that I want to include them, but I could exclude them from that view. Okay, so class, bring it on over, ignore differences, awesome, copy. Okay, so Midsummer and Yule. We can see there were some Midsummer changes. I restructured how things were, and again, this isn't a user-facing thing, but I restructured how quick guides worked because they were very much hard-coded to there is but one quick guide, and it is for Midsummer. That turned out to be wrong, or at least not very forward-thinking, so those have changed in this way. There was also a lot of not language specific stuff in the language specific file, so that's all cleaned up. So we're going to go ahead and take all of that. Not move, copy. However, we do not need to tell people about it. Hey, we have a Yule quick guide, we can tell people about that. And there's a generic file which stores some central stuff. Awesome. Okay, barter items. This is all white space. Great. Chat logger. This is the change that we just did, and this is to fix that bug, which is listed in the README. All right, festival functions. This is all white space, all 2 lines of it. All right, fireworks event quick slot. This was an internal change. There were some variables here that were being declared as global variables that were very much meant to be local variables. So those got scoped as members of wQuickSlot instead of just sitting out here in the global namespace. Doesn't affect the user at all. Doesn't really affect me at all. So it doesn't warrant inclusion in the README file. This is more white space changes. Awesome. Globals. What do we have here? This is actually almost white space changes. There was a layout issue I was having with reading how the braces were. So this is just standardizing brace structures for the most part. We do go ahead and add the Yule default to the quick guide progress. We add Yule to the inclusion place and to the quick guides. All of that's great. We need it all. It is all under the banner of added quick guide for Yule. All right, white space, great. Main, quick guides and Yule, more quick guide stuff, awesome. Main win. We wanted, oh, the quick guide win load festival wasn't paying attention to the past variable at all, and so we just got rid of it for now. For testing purposes, it can be nice to explicitly pass in the variable, but the function itself was only looking at selected festival, the global variable. And so it was more changes to make use of that parameter than I was ready to do. All right, so we do not want that debug options, but that change, those were the variable name changes that we just did. Added that comment. Oh, and that rename, interesting. I must have missed it before. We do want all of this white space change. Okay, and that's just the show debug options. We do not want to ship with that. It's no real harm to it, but it's no real benefit either. Okay, here were those name changes that we just saw. Key changes, really. Quick guide window. So many changes. I'm going to kind of, by fiat, declare it's all probably good. And it's all related to quick guide changes, so no additional README changes. Oh yeah, this was a repository file. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. And this is the actual release file. Great. And our strings. There are a couple of kind of changes. Protagonist got moved up. It was out of order for some reason. Not sure why. I know it's protagonist. It just amuses me. There was an extra sample string here. I went ahead and killed it. These are the changes we just saw. All of that looks great. Okay, so our options win. That's the debug. That should really go in globals, but that's a future change. And nothing else needs to be worried about. Okay, so that's just a nice, well, I don't know about nice. That is a release procedure I like to do to kind of make sure that I didn't make some sort of big change that I forgot to document in the README file. There were lots of big changes in there, but they were all kind of isolated to that quick guide functionality. And so if you're not using a quick guide, if you never press that button, like 99% of those changes we just looked at, you wouldn't even see. So I like to double check that the changes going into a release are intentional, that I didn't accidentally include something, and that they are, a part of the release notes if appropriate. So that being said, we have everything we need. That's false. We have no need for that. Nope, 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 nope. So we're good. So all the files are there. Now, what we don't have yet are our website release notes kind of thing. So let's do that real fast because it's super nice to have that done before it's time to actually use them. I keep that in a folder called website, wherever. And we're going to come on in here and save this off as description 04 and interface.com 04. You don't have to do it this way. I like having this historical record because it makes it way easier to search for a specific thing as opposed to rolling your files back and forth using source control. But at this point, I have stored off many, many versions, and I find myself using it not too often, so I can see benefits to both. Okay, so in the README, we have, it's very short, version 2.04 is now available. This adds a quick guide for Yule. For the Yule festival. Okay. And then here, we're going to go ahead and transform this. Outdent. Go ahead and do our list starts, our list stops, and our bulleted list item. And that'll do it. Quick little release, so that makes the release notes very friendly. All right, and then we want to do something similar for the LOTRO interface description. And so that's going to be a bullet entry here, and this is 12 version 2.0.4. Added a quick guide for the Yule festival. We'll leave the different wording, why not? Okay. And then we want a release notes here link, but we won't have the actual URL until after we've made the post, which I do after I actually release the thing. So we'll come back in and we'll fix that very shortly. Okay, so all we need now is to make the zip file. So remember, when you're making that zip file, you want to start with an empty one. Name it whatever your version is, and then drag that cube plugins, or the name of whatever folder is going to go into plugins, drag that on in there, so that when this is extracted, the thing what you drag into your Lord of the Rings Online plugins folder, that is the root level of your zip file. And then we're ready to go. So navigate on over to lotrointerface.com. Make sure you're logged in, and then find the interface that you are updating. This is Festival Buddy 2. So we're going to go ahead and go ahead and get this comment from Pharaoh then. Great question. I haven't spent much time in the theater yet. But I'll look at that once the quick guide is all done. For some reason, when you quote a post on LOTRO interface, it doesn't by default quote it, put it into a quote block, which is very frustrating. I like doing it to visually separate my words from someone else's, but the default is it's not there, and a lot of people just don't bother. It's very strange. However, we're going to go ahead and edit the Festival Buddy 2. We're bumping up to version 2.0.4. That's a sleepy kitty next to me. We're going to go ahead and upload this zip file. And coming on into the lotrointerface.com description, we're just going to paste that in bulk. And I'm fine with the images as they are, so we're going to go ahead and update this. Cool. So at the same time, we're going to go over to lotro.com. Oh, in fact, we've got the link to the forum thread that we're working on. So let's just go ahead and launch that. Am I still logged into the forums? I am. Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and reply. And just paste in our forum description. Now, am I in? Nope, I'm good. Okay, so we can preview that, make sure the list stuff works great. We're going to go ahead and post that. falling asleep on us. I know, it's almost bedtime. Okay, so I've gone ahead and posted that. At this point, we can go ahead and get the link for that, come back into the LOTRO interface description, and just update that so it points to the right part of that. Doing an update on just the description doesn't cause your file to go wonky. That is, it doesn't need to be revalidated. So we can come on into Festival Buddy 2. It's awaiting approval, no problem. We're going to go ahead and just edit the description. Okay, so once this has been approved, once this is approved, it'll be downloadable. And yeah, Sandy, if you get a chance to use it, I'd love to know what you think of the new quick guide. Like I said, I feel like it could be tweaked a little bit, and it would definitely benefit from a system that does not exist yet, which understands that some things are mutually exclusive. So if you do the one, the other should be shuffled in the order, or vice versa. That system doesn't work yet because in Midsummer there were not any mutually exclusive quests that were on the quick guide. Like the Fireflies were mutually exclusive, but they're not part of the quick guide because they're not quick. Whereas here, there's two different sets setting up, and why do I keep forgetting the name of the eating competition? It's not Stuffing the Stuffed. It should be Stuffing the Stuffed, but it's not, which is just bonkers to me. Biggest stomach of them all. Tidying up and biggest stomach of them all, and of course, charitable spirit and moving them off. So that's a new thing with Yule compared to Midsummer, which is where the quick guide really cut its teeth, as it were. So I had to think about that. Okay, so the Festival Buddy 2 plugin has been updated. So anyone who's interested in trying it can go ahead and download that from LOTROinterface.com. I'll put the link into chat here. Updated Festival Buddy 2. There you go. And let me know what you think. We're going to be updating this probably all month here as we need more quest guides. I'd like to better understand the emotes windows, and if their location isn't being persisted on screen, I'd like to fix that. All sorts of little changes here. This is a great festival for the emotes. Like if you're doing villain, it's really nice to have this little emote window for what things you should use, but in order to be successful. And the second window has your, I think your rotten fruit and your flower petals. Now I'm going to come in and take a look. Concessions. Browse the shop. Great. Give me some of that. Give me some of that. Okay, so yes, those go there. And then if you get selected for something on the stage, you have your emotes here as well. So I guess on the face of it, if I do unload and reload, villain. Okay, so they do seem to remember their positions. It's just their initial spawn point, which would be nice to separate out. Cool. Okay, so that'll be something I play with later. For now, I'm going to leave the theater so I don't accidentally get sucked into a performance. I don't think there were enough people in there, but you never know. Okay. Well, that's neat. Thanks for the inspiration, Sandy. I'm glad people will be able to play with that. I could spend another month of tweaking Festival Buddy, so it's good to do faster pushes so that you get a chance to play with it this Yule and not next Yule. Well, not also next Yule. Awesome. Well, I think that's all we're going to cover today. The next stream on the schedule is eventually back to Rohan with mailing at 9 p.m. Eastern time, but do check. I know several streamers are doing abbreviated schedules in December. For instance, I think this coming Friday is Chord's last stream for Chord of the Rings in December, and I know several other streamers are also having the schedule be affected by holidays. So check on that. If they post somewhere, check on that ahead of time so that you're not surprised. And with that, what are you doing? Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's all we're going to cover. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration of LOTRO plugins and especially the Yule Festival. I do hope to see you all here next week. And until then, keep plugging along. All right. Bye-bye now.